Alright guys, what's going on? It's your boy King Red Diamonds and I'm back for another Nioh 2 video. Today we'll be continuing with my weapon guide series and we'll be doing the Kusarigama. Before we get in, I ask you guys like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you all giving me the support you have. I'm going to keep trying to push out these videos as much as possible. I know it's been a while since the last one, but again, work schedules and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to try to push out as much as possible, so please stay tuned. Thank you for sticking with me, and we're going to get right into it. So Kusarigama today. Before I do the Kusarigama, I'm just going to give you guys disclaimers. Anybody who uses a Kusarigama, it isn't my favorite weapon in the game. It's not really a weapon I would say is good for beginners. The Kusarigama, you want to use this weapon after you've pretty much played the game through completely, as in like you've beaten Dream of the Samurai and then you've gone into Dream of the, I think it's Dream of the Demon after Samurai, one of those. Yeah, like once you've beaten the main game, then I would say go ahead and try the Kusarigama, because at that time you'll pretty much know the basic mechanics of the game, like how it works, how certain enemies move and all that stuff. Reason why is because the Kusarigama is a very it's very technical. Like its move set, depending on the enemy you fight, it determines what the Kusarigama will do. I think an easy way to explain is most weapons in the game already are good against both yokai and humans, and they all have certain moves that work better against yokai and some moves that work better against humans. The Kusarigama, its fighting style is determined by which enemy you fight. Instead of certain moves being better used against humans or certain moves being better used against yokai, the Kusarigama completely bases its fighting style depending on which enemy you're fighting. For example, if you're fighting a human enemy, you pretty much can control that entire battle strictly in your favor. Like you can literally control it. You can control how the human enemies move. You can control how much distance you want to keep or how close you want to get in with them. Like it pretty much gives you a lot more control with human enemies rather than yokai enemies. When fighting a yokai enemy, you're not, like, you can be in control of that fight, but the yokai is going to pretty much make you get in closer. Like, it might sound weird, but like when I get into actually explaining what the moves are and and all the stuff, you'll have a better understanding of it. So we'll go over the first four as we usually do, and then I'll move on to the ones that I feel is a little bit more important than others. So we have Reaper, Retreating Strike, Waterfall, and Serpent Strike. Now, as you can see right here, this is what I was talking about. Serpent Strike is when you hold triangle, you're just holding triangle in high stance, and you'll pull the enemy towards you like this. That only works on human enemies. No yokai enemy can be pulled towards you like this. They are too big. There's no way that you can do that. So when I say that fighting a human enemy, you pretty much control the entire fight, this is what I mean. You can pull an enemy in from far away like that. Literally, human enemies can be pulled towards you, and now you're in control of the entire fight. But yokai enemies, if you were to throw this move out on a yokai enemy and it attaches itself to it, you would be pulled towards the yokai instead of you pulling them towards you. So that's what I mean by you control the fight more when fighting a human enemy rather than a yokai enemy, because yokai enemies are too sturdy for you to just like pull around and yank around the entire map. There's no way you're going to do it. So you'll end up pulling yourself towards that enemy instead of pulling the enemy towards you. That's why I said depending on what you're fighting, the fighting style of the Kusarigama will be determined at that moment. So again, this is not a weapon I would recommend for newer or beginning players, just because it's a bit more difficult to understand and use. Basically, like you're going to try to do certain moves that will work against a human enemy or a yokai enemy, and it's not going to work and you'll probably die. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Kusarigama. I do have a Kusarigama build on my channel if you do want to take a look at it and check out and see if you like it. But in terms of weapon uses, I'm not a fan of the Kusarigama, but I know there are people who are fans of it. Now, I'm not going to say the Kusarigama is a bad weapon. It's not at all. If you learn how to use the Kusarigama, if you learn how to use it in different situations and learn what situations to use it in, the Kusarigama can be quite possibly one of the most devastating weapons in this game. And it might not look like it because it's very like it combines like medium to short to medium range. Like it's not really long range. I wouldn't say it's long range. It does have a lot more reach than other weapons in the game. It definitely has a lot more reach, but it's more so of a medium, like a medium range to short range weapon. But it definitely has the potential to be one of the most devastating weapons just because of the amount of control it gives you over certain enemies, especially human enemies. Like say you're only using this weapon to fight human enemies, um, then you'll pretty much like dominate any human enemy you go up against, especially if you learn its moveset. No questions. But let's get into just which ones to pick and all that good stuff. So give me a second. All right, I'm back at the cut real quick. I had something in my eye, but let's get back to it. So, out of these four, first move I'd probably use is this one. The reason why is because it has a bit more utility than all these. This one right here is the one that you can use to control your fights, especially if you're starting off with human enemies. Like if you start in the first level of the game, it's mainly human enemies. You'll fight a few yokai, but it's mainly human enemies, so you'll get a good feel for how to control your fights and everything. So Serpent Strike might be the first one to start off with. Next we'll go with Reaper. Reaper is like Water Sword for the dual swords in that it's a stationary move, as you can see. This move works a lot better, as you may know, against yokai rather than humans. So whenever using this move, be careful to use this on only yokai and not humans. The reason why is because humans don't stand still as much as yokai do. Yokai will stand still and just tank your hits, so you'll be able to get off a Reaper on a yokai instead of a human. More than likely, if you do this on a human, it'll push, like the force of the attack will push the human out of its range, so you'll probably get off a few strikes on him and then he'll be outside of range and then you'll be open for attack. But with yokai, they'll just sit there and eat all of them. So definitely very good against yokai, not very good against humans. Retreatable Strike, this right here I don't recommend. It creates distance for you, but more often than not you're going to create distance by just pressing X and dodging away, rather than having to use this move. So I'll open this up just to open up the path for the rest of the moves down here, but other than that, this move is not something I would really use as much, just because it does barely any damage really, and then like again it just gives you separation from your enemy without having to press X and dodge backwards. So just equipping that right now. And then this is a parry, as every other move in this slot would be, but mainly parries are on this side. Again, if you're very good at parrying, if you're very good at timing your parries, if you like using counters and parries, by all means you can equip this move. Me personally, I'm not the best at parrying, especially not with the Kusarigama, so I usually tend to stay away from parrying. I usually just stick to skills that'll let me like obliterate enemies as quickly as possible without having to parry and stuff. Like I do block and I do dodge, but parries are more so like if you're completely, like if you have your timing down pat, like you know exactly when an attack will hit, you know exactly when to use it. That's what parries are for. Parries are for people who play flawlessly, pretty much. If you don't play flawlessly, stay away from the parries, you'll die. But yeah, in the first four skills in order, I would go with Serpent Strike, Reaper, probably this one over this one, just because this one has a bit more utility than this does. This is literally just a space creator. It gives you a little bit of space and that's it. This actually is an attack that does damage and, you know, puts you in position to follow up with more attacks. So I would probably go Serpent Strike, Reaper, waterfall, and then retreating strike. This is literally only there just to open up the pass for these down here. All right, now, so we're gonna move on to the next ones. So here we have foot sweep. We have a Crimson Flurry. We have Summer Twilight, Whirlwind Kick, Chain Pull, Tango Strike, Black Vines, Masterful Guard, and then we have Deliverance right here. So out of all of those moves, if we take a look at them, foot sweep literally is this, just a literal foot sweep. You just knock your opponent off his feet. I'm pretty sure it can be good in situations. Me, I personally don't use it, just because like it really does nothing. It might set them up for like a final blow or something, or like attacks on the ground, but honestly, with higher level human enemies, this literally will do nothing. So I would stay away from this. If you like it, use it. I wouldn't go with it. So yeah. Next we have Crimson Flurry. This is a very good technique. It does a lot of damage, and unlike the Reaper or Water Sword, it's not stationary. It actually follows, like you actually move while doing it. So this is actually a very good technique against humans and yokai. This is also a very good technique to break the horns on yokai, because you see how vertical the spins of the sickle and chain are. You can knock yokai horns out easily with this, and then continue with combos from there. So Crimson Flurry is very good. Then we have Summer Twilight. Summer Twilight is just like moves from the Odachi that empower you, but also debuff you at the same time. So as you can see, this one increases your attack strength, but also increases the amount of key damage you receive. Moves like these, I don't tend to use. Like buffs from a weapon, I don't tend to use. The reason why is because most of them give debuffs to you that you don't really want, and they require you to use certain like magic talismans and stuff to counteract them. And some of them may conflict with the certain magic builds you might set up, or certain magic talismans you might want to use. So I stay away from them. That way I can use whatever magic I want to use at the moment, instead of having to substitute one magic item to counteract my debuff that I did to myself. So I don't really find much use for them. Some people may find use for them. Some people may think that these are free upgrades to themselves. They are perfectly willing, they're perfectly fine to use them. That's on them. They can use whatever they want. Me personally, I do not use them. It just doesn't seem very viable to me in the way I fight and in my combat style. If you would like to use them, I'm sure they'll help you out, but just be wary of the debuff it gives you, and make sure you take that into account. That way you're not getting killed because you're focused on the increased amount of strength, but you don't really care about the increased amount of key damage you receive. Later on in game, Underworld, Depths in the Underworld, if you take any type of damage, key damage, regular damage, you're gonna die fast. You can die in 3, maybe 4 hits and you're done. So make sure that if you are using these little status buffs, these in skill status buffs, that you're taking into account not only the buff but the debuff. Okay, so Summer Twilight, again, if you would like to use it, you can. I personally would not pick it. Whirlwind Kick. Whirlwind Kick, as you can see, is literally just a frontal knee kick. Boom. It's very swift, covers a good amount of distance, and it does a good amount of key damage. It's just like Kick from the sword, or like God of Wind from the dual swords and stuff. It's very good for dealing key damage. So Masterful Slice will work really good with this move. You do this, dealing a good amount of key damage, and you can follow up with maybe like a Serpent Strike by pulling the enemy in, or other techniques that we'll get to when we get there. But Whirlwind Kick, not a bad idea to get. I would get it if I were you. So yeah. Next we have Chain Pull. Now Chain Pull will work very well with Whirlwind Kick, because again, say you do this and you drain the enemy's key, all you do is throw out a Chain Pull, boom. Look at that. Pull them in, knock them down. Chain Pull is very good for any enemy who has 0 key. They must have 0 key in order for Chain Pull to do this extra attack. You can't do it if they're at full key and they're fully aware and all that stuff. So make sure that if they're at 0 key and you decide you want to, do a nice little flashy move, boom, Chain Pull, throw it out, and there you go. So Chain Pull, very good. I like it. I've used it a lot. Definitely check it out on my build. But I might link that build to this video's description. And actually, in my other videos, I'll go back and I'll try to link the builds for those weapons I'll link the builds for those weapons in the description of those videos. So if you're watching this video, maybe you can go back to my other videos, check them out. It'll refer you to the builds I use for them, and then you'll know how I use them and what techniques I use while playing with the weapons and stuff, and the builds I use for them. But chain pool, definitely very good. I would recommend getting it if you would like to, but I definitely recommend getting it. Tango Strike, this one is actually good for a combo ender. It's a good follow-up to a combo. You just press triangle at the end of your combo, whether you're in mid or low stance. It's not bad at all. It does have a second activation to it, which is down here, but we'll get to that when we get there. So Tango Strike, not bad. Combo ender, definitely get that. Black Vines. Now Black Vines is something just like Serpent Strike, but in turn Serpent Strike actually pulls you forward. Black Vines, this one, it as you can see, it says it throws the Kusarigama metal weight at an enemy and draws them close, or propels you towards them if they are movable. So that basically means if you use this move on a human, you'll pull them closer. If you use this move on a yokai, they'll pull you closer. Like, you'll pretty much propel yourself towards them instead, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier in the Kusarigama, basically determining its fighting style off of the enemy that you're fighting. So like, whenever you're fighting an enemy, make sure, okay, that you know exactly what moves you're going to use against that enemy. Because if you do not, you'll use a certain move that you thought would work, and it'll backfire on you, and now you're kind of at a loss. Like, oh man, what did I do? Now I'm in too close, and he's going to hit me. So make sure you're taking into account what enemies you're fighting and then what moves you're using. Now, Black Vine is just this move right here, but the reason why it's just this is because it has a follow-up, which is this. But again, we'll get into that when we get there. So next we're going to go with Masterful Guard. As you can see, it's a parry. Perfectly, just press L1 at the perfect time and you'll pretty much deflect oncoming attacks. Only works on human enemies, does not work on yokai enemies, so please do not try to use this on a yokai enemy and he slaps you pretty much and you're dead. So make sure if you're using this technique, human enemies only, and then yeah. But again, it's a parry, so me personally, I don't recommend parries as much. So I'm going to stay away from this one. And then now we have Deliverance. Deliverance is a very good combo ender as well. As you can see, it pretty much travels and it does a good amount of damage to enemies, especially human enemies, yokai enemies as well. This is a very good technique. This is one of the universal techniques of the Kusarigama that works both well on your humans and yokai, so I would definitely recommend it. So out of all of the moves I just went over, first one I'd probably try to go for is Deliverance. Reason why is because combo enders are pretty much staples of combat in any game. Honestly, in any game you play, a combo ender is what usually deals the most damage to the enemy, because you've already whittled down their health a lot, and then you throw out a combo ender and now they're dead. So definitely Deliverance will be the go-to, the first one I would grab, because it'll be unlocked by the time you unlock all 4 of these. So you'll be able to grab that as soon as all 4 of these are unlocked, and then boom, now you have your Deliverance. Next we're going to go with Crimson Flurry. Reason why is because Crimson Flurry opens up Crimson Flurry 2. As you can see, the difference between the two is Crimson Flurry, you just do the little flurry of attacks real quick, and the 2, you slam down the weighted side of the Kusarigama, and it does a good amount of damage. It's pretty much another combo ender. So as you can see, combo enders on the Kusarigama are going to be plenty pretty much. It's like the Kusarigama has a lot of combo enders. It has a lot of grapples and combo enders. So make sure you're getting those combo enders. That way you won't be stuck just standing there after throwing out a move. So we're going to grab the Crimson Flurry 2 as well. This may become available later on. As you can see, this one is available when you hit the Way of the Warrior Novice, and this one is a Way of the Warrior Adept. So this one comes later on. You won't be able to grab this and this back to back. You'll just have to wait a while. But for now, since I grab this and this just to have them. Alright. So again, we're skipping the Summer Twilight, and I'll go over the rest of these once we come back around. Whirlwind Kick, definitely getting that. The reason why we're getting that Whirlwind Kick again is because it does a good amount of key damage, and we like that. We like key damage. We want as much key damage as possible, so we're going to grab that Whirlwind kick for sure. Chain pull, yes we are. We're definitely going to grab that chain pull, because the chain pull works on 0 key enemies, and a lot of the time you'll definitely have a 0 key enemy just standing there out of breath and stuff like that. So if you remember to do it, chain pull is a very good attack to pull them in as well as to deal a lot of damage. Tango Strike, yes we are going to get Tango Strike again, because Tango Strike has a second follow-up, which is Tango Strike 2. Boom. So you see, again, he attacks, slams down the weight of the Kusarigama, and then the next one, he comes with a swipe from the sickle. So boom, we're getting that. Black Vines, we are going to grab Black Vines, and I'm going to tell you exactly why we're going to grab Black Vines. So we're going to grab Black Vines, and I know I said that this isn't like the best technique, but the reason why we're going to grab this is because of this attack right here. Look at this. That attack right there, if you watch my build video, I use this attack a lot. The reason why is because it does a ridiculous amount of damage. It travels. It has a long reach, because as you can see where he spins from, like he literally, like a spinning top, traveled towards the enemy and did a lot of damage when doing so. This move, this technique right here is very good against humans and yokai. It's very viable. It does a lot of damage. Honestly, I think with whatever stat I maxed out on the build, I think I put damage bonus of that stat on this attack to give me the most amount of damage possible from this attack, just because it does so much damage, and it closes the distance so quickly. So we're definitely going to grab Deadly Mark. But that's what we got Black Vines for. We got Black Vines because Black Vines is pretty much the setup for Deadly Mark, as you can see. Boom, and he's out there. So definitely grabbing Deadly Mark, for sure. Definitely grab that. All right, next we have Masterful Guard. Masterful Guard, I would only grab this if I wanted to pretty much parry, but I don't parry, so I'm not gonna grab Masterful Guard. And it goes to this one, but we'll go over that when we get there. But that would be what I would grab from the second row of skills. Second row of skills, definitely would grab those. So make sure you get those. If you like, again, if you want parries and stuff, you can grab them. I don't grab them. I don't do parries. If you want to use this, you can use it. I don't. But all the ones I've selected are the ones I would grab from the second row. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the third row of things and beyond. Now we have right here Birds of Prey. As you can see, this is pretty much a parry as well. But instead of the activation of a parry, which works off of perfect timing, this one doesn't technically work off of perfect timing. You can pretty much, as long as they hit your guard, as long as they hit your guard and you press triangle again after, you'll do this technique right here, and it's not bad at all. It's actually, you know, very good, especially in combat if you learn how, if you throw it out at the proper time. Again, I don't use it because I see it as a parry, and again, my timing with certain parries like that is not the best. I don't worry about, you know, blocking and then trying to attack afterwards. Usually I just block with L1 and then I dodge out of the way and go back whenever I can. Other than that, I'm not using a parry to, you know, continue a combo. So we'll skip on that one for now. After Summer Twilight, we have Blade Spin. Now Blade Spin is very good. We're gonna have to get Summer Twilight in order to get Blade Spin. We don't have to use Summer Twilight, but we want to get Blade Spin just because of the distance it travels and the 360-degree angle it swings in. This move is good, especially when fighting multiple enemies, because you can attack all of them at once and you can spread them, like you can pretty much spread them out and continue fighting one-on-one as long as the other ones are stunned. Blade Spin is very good. In fact, I actually use this attack a lot as well, so I'm going to grab this. It is required to have Summer Twilight, but you do not have to use it. We definitely want Blade Spin though. Right here, this is Autumn Dusk. It's pretty much another buff, debuff from the weapon. I don't recommend. And then Winter Dawn. If anything, out of the three, Winter Dawn would be the best one to use, Reason why is because it increases the amount of key damage you inflict, but also increases the amount of key you use when attacking. This can be counteracted by using the Barrier Talisman, which is pretty much the Barrier Talisman is, it might quite possibly might be the most used magic talisman on the game. Reason why is because Barrier increases your key recovery speed and it instantly purifies yokai realms. So if you use Barrier Talisman and then use this technique right here, it'll pretty much counteract the amount of key loss you get, and it'll keep your increased key damage. So if out of all three of these right here, I would recommend Winter Dawn the most, just because it's a lot easier to get over its status debuff rather than get over the status debuffs of these two. Like for example, this right here, it increases the amount of key damage you receive. There's nothing in the game that will help with decreasing your key damage. There's no talisman, there's no magic item, there's no ninja item that'll help decrease the amount of key damage you take. There's nothing in the game. You can use a Barrier Talisman to maybe, you know, regain key faster after taking a lot of key damage. But if you're taking a lot of key damage from enemies, the Barrier Talisman won't work fast enough to, you know, replace the key loss. You'll pretty much just go into 0 key and you'll be open for either a grapple or a final blow from an enemy. So it's nothing in the game that'll help with your key damage. Next, it increases the amount of key consumed when dodging, but in turn also decreases your defense. This basically literally just uses less key when dodging, but you take more damage. You don't want that. Now you can counteract it with the Steel Talisman, but who knows how much your defense actually is debuffed. Like, I don't know the exact percentage amount of the debuff to your defense, but if it's too much, if it's like too high, then the Steel Talisman won't really do anything for you. But if it's not too high, then the Steel Talisman could work. But I would rather get more return just from dodging, I would rather get more return from a skill rather than just dodging. Like, it just saves me key on dodging. That's what my Barrier Talisman is for. If I'm dodging, my Barrier Talisman will work fast enough to give me all that key back without having to worry about, you know, like say I run out of key too quickly. So this one, it doesn't really give me what I want. But Winter Dawn, definitely would consider it. I'm not gonna grab it right now just because I'm probably not gonna use it. But definitely, if you want Winter Dawn, you can grab that. We go to here, Leaping Strike. Leaping Strike is very good because it has the follow-up to Water Drop. Now, Water Drop, you get this from fighting, I forget his name. He's the human Kappa hybrid, the big guy with the beard and long hair. I really forget his name. I haven't played this game. I haven't played the story in so long. But you get that from fighting him. The skill will drop randomly when you fight him, and that's how you get Water Drop. So we're gonna grab Leaping Strike because that is a follow-up into Water Drop, and Water Drop is very good. So yeah, we're grabbing those. Next, we're going to move on to Whirlwind. Now, Whirlwind goes to this right here. As you can see, very cool technique, very cool. But Whirlwind, definitely grabbing that. Whirlwind, as you can see, its range is incredible. Look how much range it has. Like, you cover a wide area. If you're fighting multiple enemies, this is the go-to move for that. Its reach is much wider than Blade Spin. Blade Spin's reach is not bad, but Whirlwind's reach is ridiculous. And then if you're fighting a zero, if you deplete the enemy's key and you press square at the end, you'll do this grapple right here, pull them in and slam them. It's very good. This technique is actually from the same person that you get Water Drop from, the human Kappa guy. He drops this technique as well. So make sure if you want this technique, you fight him, farm him, do whatever you got to do, and hopefully he drops this skill for you. Next is Serpent Bite. Again, this is pretty much a parry. Don't recommend. Renegade Dragon. Renegade Dragon is the go-to. Between Renegade Dragon and Deadly Mark, These two are my both most used techniques when playing with the Kusarigama, just because of how fast they are, how much damage they do, and um just how they look. Truly, like, look at these moves right here. These looks incredible. So definitely these two are your go-tos from, like, in my opinion. Renegade Dragon, Deadly Mark. Definitely get these as quickly as you can. They're going to do ridiculous amounts of damage. You're going to be beating the hell out of any enemy in the game. So next, Hornet Sting and then Hornet Sting 2. These are all parries pretty much. If you want them, by all means get them. I'm not going to. Again, I do not use parries. But that is actually all of the techniques right there. Again, little recap of which ones I recommend. Serpent Strike, Reaper. We're not going to use this just because, again, it's not really useful. This is a parry. So Serpent Strike, Reaper, Deliverance, Crimson Flurry, Crimson Flurry 2. We're going to go to Whirlwind Kick, Leaping Strike, and then Water Drop. I skipped this, but Blade Spin. So you gotta get this to get Blade Spin. So we go to that Blade Spin and then these right here. Then we got Chain Pull, Tango Strike, Tango Strike 2. We got Black Vines to Deadly Mark. You need Black Vines in order to get Deadly Mark, so Black Vines and Deadly Mark for sure. Then we go Whirlwind, Second Wind, Renegade Dragon, and then that is all of them actually. So next I'll go over the Mystic Arts, which is Waxing Crescent and Shooting Star. Now Waxing Crescent increases both the attack damage and key damage caused by the Kusarigama's sickle, while also reducing the amount of ki used. And then this one, Shooting Star, increases both the attack damage and ki damage caused by the metal weight, while also reducing the amount of ki used. Now with these Mystic Arts, this weapon, the Kusarigama, might be just like the dual swords. Just like the dual swords, the Kusarigama's Mystic Arts, both of them you want to use. So that means that whatever Kusarigama you get, you want to have Mystic Dyad Kusarigama on that weapon. You want to be able to use both of these Mystic Arts, because both of them together, this is why I said that the Kusarigama can be one of the most devastating weapons in this game. Both of these Mystic Arts help the Kusarigama deal more attack and ki damage and reduce the amount of ki used when using both the sickle and the metal weight. If you have both of these equipped, that means you're doing increased damage on all fronts and using less ki doing it. You cannot beat that. It literally covers both bases. So like, whenever using a Kusarigama or dual sword type weapon and both the Mystic Arts help that weapon, make sure you're getting Mystic Dyad on your weapons. Me personally, I try to get Mystic Dyad on every single weapon I use, just in case I needed to use a certain skill when fighting a certain enemy. That way I didn't have to worry about switching between both the Mystic Arts, and I just had both active at all times. So make sure you're getting Mystic Dyad. That's probably one of the best skill effects that the game has included since its last DLC. The Mystic Dyads on all the weapons are very, very, very good, especially in Underworld and Depths of the Underworld and pretty much all that stuff. So definitely roll Mystic Dyad, or try to get a weapon drop that has Mystic Dyad Kusarigama on it, just so you can take advantage of both of these, okay? But now I'm just going to get our passives, of course. So where is here we go. Passes Afterlife. What's this? Armor Piercer, yes. Shadow Strike, yes. Where is it? Relentless, yes, we'll take that. And everything else pretty much has no use to me. You can use this one right here. It literally just gives you +2 for every level you go up, pretty much. So like, if you use it now, you do that and it'll go up to +4, and +6 and so on and so forth. So like you can use it. It just gives you like a flat bonus to your it just gives you a flat bonus to your attack. So if you're at say like 4,500 attack and you use this, now I would be at 4,504. Doesn't really do much, so you can use it. I don't think this has a cap at all. I'm not sure it does. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anybody like with this active to like 100 or anything, just because I feel like there's no reason to put it up that high. So if you want to use it, you can. I wouldn't do it just because it's no point. But yeah, these are all the techniques that I would use. If you want to screenshot it, you know, save it, take a picture, do what you got to do. Yeah, that is it. So we're going to switch over to our skill setup and skill customization and stuff, and then I'll fight a couple enemies, show you how I use it, and then we'll get up out of here. Alright, we're here in the skill customization, so I'm going to go over these real quick, and then I'll get into the fights and showing you how I use my techniques. So these cannot change. These have to stay the same. Mystic Dyad. Try your best to get Mystic Dyad on your weapon. That way you can use both of your Mystic Arts. Right now I'm just going to go with the sickle, just because. But you want Mystic Dyad to have both of them active. In our high stance, we're going to go with Serpent Strike, because it's the only one that goes there. Deliverance, only one that goes there, so we have to go with that. Out of all of these, I put Crimson Flurry at the top, just because it helps me use techniques in other stances. So Crimson Flurry for right now at the top. I'm not using Foot Sweep, not using Reaper. Reason why is because Reaper only usually works against yokai, and if you looked at my dual sword video, you'll see that Reaper is just like Water Sword, where it pretty much is a stationary technique that does a lot of damage, but only if an enemy is standing completely still. So it works against yokai but not human enemies. So I'm not going to equip it, just because it doesn't, like I said again, it doesn't work well against humans, only against yokai. So I'm going to go with Crimson Flurry right here. Here we're going to go with Blade Spin. You can go with Whirlwind Kick. Whirlwind Kick is very good for doing key damage, but Blade Spin, it does more overall damage in general. So Blade Spin it is. Deadly Mark right here for sure. It's the only one that goes anyway, so we're going to use Deadly Mark right there. Tango Strike, we already have Deliverance up here, so we're going to go Tango Strike right here. Renegade Dragon. Renegade Dragon for our mid stance, definitely. Very, very good technique. Does a lot of damage. Here we're going to go Whirlwind. Again, you can go a Whirlwind Kick. It does key damage, but Whirlwind does more overall damage, so I'm just going to go a Whirlwind for right now. Black Vines is here just to show you how it works against humans and yokai, because I told you that pretty much you can pull humans towards you, but you cannot pull yokai towards you. So actually what I'll do is I'll just use Serpent Strike to show you that, and I'll put Deadly Mark. Serpent Strike pretty much does the same exact thing. Okay, so here we have Tango Strike again. I'm not going to use Retreating Strike just because it doesn't really do much. It doesn't do anything except create distance, and if I want to create distance, I'll just back up and dodge backwards. Leaping Strike. Leaping Strike is definitely going to be on there. I already have Renegade, and I'm not going to use Reaper. Chain Pull, definitely. We already have Whirlwind and Blade Spin, and again, Whirlwind Kick is just for key damage really, so Chain Pull is going to be a lot more viable. Deadly Mark again. Black Vines we don't need for right now. Only Black Vines is used to open up for Deadly Mark, so that is everything. So if you want, pause it, slow it down, check it out, see which ones you like to use, but this is what I would go with. Alright, let's do it. Human enemy first. Come here. Come here. Love to see it. Dodge. As you can see, most of the Kusarigama's techniques deal with grapples. So like using grapples on this weapon is very good. You actually might want to like try to get grapple damage on your Kusarigama, or maybe get grapple damage on like pieces of gear, because grapple damage definitely would help this weapon out. Like the Yamnaba knives, grapple damage is great for those. I mean, I'm the Yamnaba nav. The Yamnaba Soul Core actually comes with grapple damage. Ran out of key right there. But see what I mean? Like with those techniques, you'll run out of key. Now, granted, this build doesn't have any type of like buffs on it or anything, so like run out of key for me is going to be, you know, a lot. It's going to happen a lot more. But other than that, yeah, that's how it performs against human enemies. Now let's take on a yokai enemy, and you'll see the difference in how most of my techniques work. Like this, for example. Watch him try to pull him in. Doesn't work. Pulls me towards him. As you can see, with the human enemy, you saw me pulling him towards me. But this one actually pulls me towards him. This has actually been the perfect time to use Reaper. As you can see, a lot of my grapple techniques don't work against the yokai. He's too big for me to pull him towards me. A lot of techniques that you're not going to be able to use against yokai. So like again, be wary of what you're doing when you're fighting one. But again, as you can see, Kusarigama can be one of the most devastating moves. I mean, one of the most devastating weapons on the game. Like, you'll do a lot of damage with the Kusa. Let's see if I can finish him off with Renegade. Nice. But yeah, that is the Kusarigama. Again, like you saw, I can only pull human enemies towards me. I cannot do that with yokai enemies. I honestly don't even think I could do that with the skeleton enemy. We'll see. But I don't think I can pull the skeleton towards me. Yeah, see? Can't even pull the skeleton towards me. No yokai enemy can be pulled towards you. You can only pull yourself towards them. them get out the corner or something. But yeah, as you can see, I can't pull any yokai towards me. Only humans can be pulled towards you. So whenever you're using a Kusarigama, make sure you understand that. Make sure you know that if you're fighting a yokai, if you're thinking about doing like a deliverance or you're trying to pull the enemy towards you or something like that, you'll end up like vaulting towards them. So make sure you're ready for that when you're up close and personal with them. Human enemies, you can definitely pull them towards you. You can control the battle. You can pretty much make them fight you how you see fit. That's the only thing to remember with the Kusarigama. Other than that, feel free to use it. Again, I thank you all for stopping by and coming to my channel, viewing the videos. I'll try again to make sure I'm pushing videos out as often as I possibly can. So please stay tuned. Thank you all again. It's King Red Diamonds, and I'm out.